Waking up alive.
Part 1. Pitch black.
Pitch black.
Pitch black. Your last memory, a thin column of light. Now a deprivation, a deaf stillness, vertigo and paralysis. Artificial night draped jagged and indistinct surrounds you. Shock seizes. This is the moment, inside the moment, before you know if you are still alive, before you realize you will never be the same again. The lungs beg, and the throat opens, and air searches the expanding chest for passage into being. Gasping breath is unimpaired, but an odor alarms you. There is a dull, pulsing flush in your head that mutes all senses in waves. You hear the surging breath, and you hang there. This is the first evidence of your life. Listen.
This is the first thing you need to know.
You
have survived this moment.
This is the first thing
You
you
have
need to know.
survived this moment.
You have survived this moment.
Part 2.
The first heartbeat thrashes you like the thunderous slap of a humpbacked tail in the cold stillness of first light, across the surface of your ocean skin, pounding through, awakening the depths. The second heartbeat drives breath to vital, hungry places, to feed the essential labor of existence, to inventory loss, searching the ends of you. The third heartbeat finds rhythm, the surge and flush and then return, blood river to source, source to breath. The desperate flood seeks tender inlets, then draws back to refill. At your conception, this was called the quickening. Life summoned you into being. Now you must conceive yourself again. Can you imagine that you live?
Can you imagine that you live?
Your heart calls out for flesh and nerves and consciousness. Love you thought was esoteric. You didn't know the deep mechanics, didn't understand the heart can't stop sending pulse and nourishment and soliciting love. It doesn't want for keeps. It only wants the river to flow again, to bathe everything in restoration. The fourth heartbeat is for you. It reminds you this is body, this is ground. If you don't know how to begin again, let the pulse show you. It goes, it goes, it still goes.
Part 3.
The nerves alight. They test and relay the ends of you. You find your skin, and you remember yourself. The form your body takes, the encasement of flesh. Can you find fingers? The nerves say yes. You ask for movement to confirm. The fingers twitch and curl in reply. Terrified that you are broken somewhere you don't yet know, you conduct a cautious inventory. Such force required to break the stillness. Pain is everywhere without source. Your hand raises instinctively to the eyes. You cannot find the reason for your blindness. You feel ash and debris, but no wound. You reach out for the walls of sarcophagus that must envelop you in this darkness, but the ends of you aren't long enough to reach. You feel a sudden shudder and chill. You draw your arms in and rest a moment inside your skin. You can now begin to distinguish what is you and what is not you. Nerve endings have marked corporeal boundaries. Consider yourself intact for a moment. Free to move. Now you must choose. What movement means, what effort costs. Lying there in stillness, you calculate the limits of your body against the limits of the horrific unknown that surrounds you.
Consider yourself intact for a moment. There is so much you will not do today. You won't dance. You won't tiptoe out of this. You won't do the things that happened in sunlight. But listen to the bones and muscles and nerves at your command. There is so much you can do. You are still free to move. When you find purpose, you will choose.
Part 4.
You feel too heavy, dense and immense. To get up and out, you have to know what wreckage are you getting out of, and what shape is the world that you're standing up into. You don't know. What forces you to prop yourself up on your elbows and try your resolve is the simple fact you are not dead yet. But how alive can you be? The first movement prompts the second. Because you could lean, you must now know if you can sit. A curiosity overtakes you. Not the kind of intrigue that once gave you pleasure, but a more methodical examination. If you can sit, can you bend your legs and turn? You can't escape the pervasive terror that you might still break, but a movement, the slightest, swings you incrementally towards momentum. You confide in your bones of fear that it can't be done even as you're doing it. Your bones respond. The science is proven, the physics tested through millennia of evolution. You are perfectly made to carry this weight.
Part 5. Now you remember. You were not alone when you came here. There had been others when the darkness fell. You had been with him. In unsteady breaths, negotiating desire, finding language to accommodate tentative love. In the lazy sunlight of day, it was a pastime of the wounded healthy to make choices in love. Now gasping heart and nerves call bones to action. This is no longer choice. There will be no letting go. You remember he was there, but you can't recall the distance between you when you were buried. Now you rise out of your pain and into purpose, caught surprised by your own voice. You call out to him. Are you there, love?
Are you there, love? But no answer. You call out again, and no answer. In cautious circles you spin your compass without luck, your only orientation the thought of him and the promise no one asked you to make that you would hold him when he needed it most. No time to wonder who is saved by this purpose, no time to ask who is served by this promise. You pace the unknown terrain, call for help, and call for him, because you can't do otherwise. You are here, alive, and survival means you reach for the ones you can't forget. You reach because you know to be forgotten is death. When he is found, then so are you.
So are you.
Then so are you.
Part 6.
You feel your words released into the cavernous silence.
Was that
a response? No.
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 Just the jagged enclosure, reverberating your cries. And yet you're sure you feel him, some phantom presence, or an echo of memory. You imagine yourself a bat flitting through the crevices, effortless. The pitch of your utterances returning to you as touch. If you keep calling, you will feel him there eventually. He doesn't have to reply. You just need to open wider or call louder until your voice returns in waves of beating heart. Your awkward, blind human body stumbles loudly upon metal. Metal that moves and clinks against some twisted rebar. And you remember, we are deaf. We must find more powerful resonators. They exist. Just as in waves of orgasm, you felt the opening of love for him. You bang ferociously, metal to metal, for some distant, muted reply. Are you there? Because I am. I am alive. Your pounding must carry until it touches someone's ear. With every strike you call out a prayer, because your infinite soul remembers you are nothing but these particles and waves, and these vibrations resonate more powerfully than you know, your prayers opening, vibrating towards an immense receiver. But you're unsure. You lose your grip and fall back, defeated, weak and ineffectual. How many more times can you muster the energy to raise the metal bar and strike? And then you remember. The feeling you seek won't come until you stop to listen. You can't know who you have called until you hold silent and wait for the response. You feel him there. Your senses beg for confirmation, but you know it's true. Now you must be still for a moment. Lay down your makeshift hammer and conserve your breath a while. Listen. There will always be an answer. Listen.